Welcome back to Battle School Dropouts, a podcast about anime and murder. My name's Bakari. I'm a zombie, and I'm joined by my vampire co-hosts too.
I prefer the term Dracula, but it's okay.
These PC vampires these days. Goddamn fucking soy boy beta cock vampires. He probably drinks the blood of deer and other woodland creatures instead of humans. Women specifically. This vampire's a feminist. Hey,
This vampire's a feminist.
This is going well, I think.
That has to be like a conservative movie out there. Like you got Kevin Sorbo and he's fighting against feminist vampires.
Sorbo. They tried to go Lucy Lawless. She wasn't down.
No, she was not down. Shit, that's pretty good, man.
Oh, fuck, that's very good. How you doing, Stu?
I'm doing pretty good. We're doing the Halloween episode this year.
That we are.
So we watched the first 6 episodes of Higurashi.
That's right.
Yeah, and so we watched the 2006 version.
2006, not Kai or Go or Ho or Sotsu. There's a lot of different iterations of Higurashi.
Yeah, I didn't realize. That was the thing, like, trying to do this episode. It's like, okay, where do we find the 2006 version?
Yeah.
Like, that's always the hardest part. Like, there's so many times where I'm like, I'm going to watch this show, and I'm like, this animation seems really good. I can't, and like, it's tough because it's 2006.
Yeah.
So, like, if I watch something that was like from, I don't know, 2015, I'm not really going to notice the difference, even though it's like 10 years later.
Yeah, no. And I mean, like, I don't think that there's definitely a sort of like, it shows its age a little bit, but like, I don't know that that's necessarily so much in the production quality so much as it is like, I don't know, lack of weird CG effects, and also like, and also the characters do like really goofy slapstick, like mid-aughts anime stuff.
Yeah.
Like someone will get like really chibi when they like get upset, and they'll do the thing where they wave their arms really fast and their head there becomes a little bean, you know?
Yeah. This is definitely like the most anime that I've seen in a long time.
This is like some, inspired a bunch of, DeviantArt kids
Absolutely.
in middle and high school,
Yeah, this is absolutely one of the shows that, like, I think if I would have only seen like the non-scary parts, I would have been like, this show's trash. If I was a teenager.
Yeah. When are they gonna fucking die?
Yeah,
I wonder.
When are they gonna do something cool? Why do their heads get big? That's so lame. Yeah. Teenage me was not cool.
Yeah. I mean, who was cool as a teenager? I feel like anybody who was cool as a teenager isn't very cool in their 30s.
Yeah, that has to be the
If you were both, right? Fuck you.
Yeah, you've just been cool this entire time. Fuck that guy.
Wow. Wow, big flex. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But I've been pretty good. It's like not Halloween feeling at all in California right now. Like
the leaves haven't even gotten brown and shit yet.
No, dude. Everything has looked the same for the last like 8 months. It's just been varying degrees of hot outside.
Yeah. It was hot last month. It is just a bit less hot now.
Yeah,
that's about it.
But yeah, so I'm excited for like Halloween stuff. This is really like the first. I watched a horror movie last night. I watched The Company of Wolves.
Ooh.
With some folks. So that was like, I think the first like spooky thing that I've seen. Bernadette was watching Midnight Club and I fell asleep during it.
Oh, how is that? I've been meaning to start that.
I wasn't
Midnight Mass a lot.
Yeah, Midnight Mass is sick.
Yeah.
Midnight Club, she said it's really good. I wasn't like paying attention to it. So me falling asleep during it is not my review of it. It's just like, she's like, hey, do you mind if I put this on while you're going to bed?
Okay.
Yeah.
So your plan was to go to sleep. You weren't trying to watch it and then you passed out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. That makes a bit more sense. I
phrased that super bad.
I saw the little Netflix, you know how like you're on Netflix and you're hovering over something and it'll play like a little 1 minute snippet or whatever. I saw that of Midnight Club and all I saw was the super sexy guy who plays the sheriff in Midnight Mass, Rahul Kohli, I think.
Oh yeah.
Just an absolute smoke show. But he's teaching someone how to play a video game or something like that, and I was like, okay, this is cool.
This is good. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, love that guy.
He was super good in Midnight Mass.
Yeah, he's apparently really into like Gundam and shit or something.
Yeah,
no, he's into Warhammer.
Yeah, there's a channel I really like called 40K in 40 minutes or something like that. Or Play on Tabletop is the name of the channel. Because it's like the big beef with watching Warhammer stuff is it's like 3 or 4 hours long. Like if you're just watching a game. Like
damn, I didn't know they were. I mean, it looks like a whole lot of setup. So I guess that makes sense.
It's so much. Yeah, and that's not even like there's another channel called Tabletop Titan, like streaming Warhammer's gotten huge in the last few years. So like when I was in school and I needed something in the background, I would put on those like 4-hour things. Now I'm not in school. I don't have like 4 hours to just sit there. So their channel's really cool. But apparently, he like played with them at some point, and now I'm waiting for his video to come out on that channel if it hasn't already.
That would be cool.
It's very, very palatable Warhammer.
Do a celebrity Warhammer tournament, because like Henry Cavill's into Warhammer.
Yeah.
And I know there's some other celebrities who are like Vin Diesel might be, or somebody. I don't know.
He's got to be. If he's into D&D, I feel like
it's a pipeline. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, exactly. Like if D&D's marijuana, like Warhammer's like the crack cocaine. It's the inevitable slope. Yeah. Everybody does it.
Yeah, that's why I got out of D&D.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't be possibly going on to Warhammer. Too expensive.
Yeah, you want to talk about real fucking horror? It's not the nightmare of the 41st century. It is how expensive that game is.
Yeah, and you got to paint the little guys yourself.
Paint the little guys. Yeah,
not that good at that.
Yeah, I got okay, but I never got good. And then I dug up some minis and I was like, I'm gonna paint these guys, and I did real mediocre at those guys.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah,
what have you been up to?
I've been doing something horror adjacent. I can't remember what. I've been playing JJ Macfield and The Missing, or whatever that's called, like the sweary game. Are you familiar with this?
Oh, it's like a 2D.
Yeah.
I was gonna say side scroller. I guess it
is a side scroller. It's like a 2D puzzle platformer.
That's a better way of describing it.
Itty bitty bit like Limbo and Inside and stuff, but not made by the same team.
Okay.
You play as a young lady named JJ. Ostensibly, her last name is Macfield.
Is she a jet plane?
She is not.
Okay, that's
unfortunately. I think so. I think that's to her benefit. She's not JJ the jet plane. She doesn't look like a cylinder of meat shoved into a machine. She just looks like a person. Though, I mean, so the main concept of the game, your I think girlfriend. I'm not far enough that they've like explained it exactly, but someone very important to her named Emily has gone missing. You are trying to find her, and in this place, wherever you are, JJ has basically the ability to regenerate herself from more or less any state besides like complete death and like obliteration. And so kind of the core conceit of the game is that you are able to like mutilate yourself in various ways in order to navigate certain puzzles and stuff like that.
Interesting.
And they play very fast and loose with that. Like there's a part where there's like, there's like a high wall and you're trying to get over it, and there's like a ceiling, but like, you can't climb up or anything like that. And there's a swinging pendulum. And if you get hit by the pendulum, it like knocks you silly such that JJ starts seeing the world upside down, and thus it is upside down. And now you can walk on the ceiling. It's a little goofy. Yeah.
That's wild.
It's very strange. Like it has its own set of logic that is kind of baffling to one who does not live in Sweary's mind.
But he's an interesting guy.
He is, yeah. He's the Deadly Premonition guy. I played some Deadly Premonition a couple of months ago. That's just Twin Peaks. It is straight up just Twin Peaks, and he swears to God he's never seen Twin Peaks before.
Yeah, which is
it's got to be a lie. Yeah,
I love you, Sweary, but
yeah.
Hey, you want to? Can I do a little brag real quick?
I'll go for it.
I don't know if it's still true, but he follows me on Twitter.
No fucking way.
Yeah,
no fucking
he follows a shit ton of people on Twitter, so it's not that big of a deal, but. Yeah, I think when I started posting about, because I did, Will and I streamed the entirety of Deadly Premonition.
Oh, fun.
And so when I was like posting about that, I think that's when I got it.
You saw you guys were streaming and he followed.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever watched, but fingers crossed.
I had a different account where I got followed just random, or like I followed. Hideaki Itsuno, the director of Devil May Cry's 3 and 4 and 5. And he followed me back, but then I stopped using that account because like he was like one of my like 10 followers or something like that. And I was like, I don't know why I have this separate account.
Other than that's pretty
Itsuno
sick.
Follows me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I followed him on my main account. He didn't follow me back. What the fuck?
What the fuck, dude?
Itsuno, come on.
Go on. Yeah. Hop on over.
Yeah.
He's still cool over in Octo Mammoth.
I mean, yeah. I'm maybe even cooler. I probably post cooler stuff on my main account than I ever did. Like that Twitter account was mostly for like back then on like the Switch and stuff like that. You couldn't send photos directly to your like screenshots directly to your phone. So like I needed to have somewhere to dump my photos and then download them on my phone.
So that's the account he followed?
Was my yeah.
That's so good.
It was just random games and stuff like that. Like screenshots of games and stuff like that I thought was funny. But yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
That's my celebrity game dev name plug or name drop there.
There we go. Damn, we're both so cool.
Look at that. We're kind of
really
big insiders. We're big names in the gaming world.
Time for us to start our own gaming company.
I think that's the only logical next step.
Yeah. I really want to make a video game one day. It's like cool. On my bucket list.
Yeah.
Like, and I've tried to do it a couple times. I've come close, but you know what takes a long fucking time to do?
Making video games.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough with like life, you know, like trying to get like a better job or trying to do anything that's not like side projects.
Yeah.
Like I'm hoping my dream, just get that job that's like satisfying enough that I can just focus on side projects and not feel like I have to like improve or get a better job.
Yeah.
I want the job.
That's all. You don't need to like be making a ton of money or something like that. It's just like not have to worry about rent and such.
Yeah.
And also not hate the job.
Yeah. Which is apparently too tall of an order for like 90% of jobs.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if rent wasn't so insane as it is like everywhere in the US now.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole other fucking stress right there.
Yeah. Like unless you're living in the fucking Dust Bowl or some shit, like you are.
Even that stuff's gotten super expensive
really?
Too. Yeah.
Oh,
I was looking up like median rent the other day and like I think like in like the lowest I could see in like other states. And again, it's like it was just median cursory Google, but it was like 800, 900 or something like that,
man. Which
is like definitely more affordable than Sacramento. Like it's a good chunk of change, but like holy shit, dude, that's still a lot of money.
That is a lot of money,
you know.
Like, they've just kind of people who are setting these prices, I think, have just like, you know, they're like people just have to make peace with the fact that they're going to need like multiple incomes in order to afford these, you know. It's not meant for like a single person working an ordinary job to afford anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And then house price, like where are we supposed to live and not be like broke?
I don't know that us not being broke is like part of their equation, honestly.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Shit.
Yeah,
it's kind of the opposite of their plan, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think they want us to, but then when the economy fucks up, nobody wants to buy things. Millennials are killing the snap pea market or something, you know?
Yeah. Well, if you spent less money on avocado toast, Bakary, you could buy a house.
I mean, I can't find good produce anywhere. So, like, I haven't bought avocados in quite some time. I don't even know where one goes to buy avocado toast.
We got some at Grocery Outlet. Yeah. Avocados.
Oh, avocados?
Yeah.
Whenever I go to Gross Out, I get the worst fucking, like, shit. Is like, it's like rotting, but in a way that I can't tell until I bring it home.
Yeah. Grocery Outlet's a real, like, Bernadette has been buying produce from there, and I'm like, we're really playing like Russian roulette.
I was about to say Grocery Outlet, more like grocery Russian roulette.
Whoa! Shit, dude. Yeah. I do love calling that place Gross Out.
Yeah.
I love Grocery Outlet. I'm gonna keep shopping there forever.
Yeah.
But
I'm not gonna buy veggies there if I can help it. Yeah. We got into grocery shopping awful quick.
Halloween episode. Ooh, have you tried domestication and cooking at home? Ooh.
Try going to Walmart for your produce. They have deals.
Well, let's get to the Halloween stuff. We talked a little bit about the horror stuff we're doing these days.
Oh, yeah.
Bakary, let me hit you with just a simple question here.
Hit me.
What's your biggest fear?
Biggest fear. Snakes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just be like really high and by myself and just like thinking about like statistically I'll probably encounter a snake sometime between now and when I die, and that sucks. I just hate the fact that could very well happen sometime.
Yeah.
I've encountered a couple snakes in my life and that always sucked.
Have you encountered them like in the wild?
Yes, a couple of times. There was one time, I think this is like where my fear of snakes came from, was like I was at summer camp and we were swimming in this like some river fucking whatever, and we were out, a bunch of us were out on this like big rock, you know, like I don't know, 20 feet away from shore or something like that. Not that difficult or anything, and it wasn't like the water was very slow. But this water snake shows up, and I don't know enough about snake taxonomy to know like what kind of snake it is, but like it was a swimming one because I saw it swimming, and it basically wandered into like an area of a bunch of us kids, and then kids started screaming because, oh shit, snake. And the snake was like, oh fuck, and like was obviously freaking out because there's a bunch of giant monkeys screaming at it. And it came like super close to me and this other kid, and then we were freaking the fuck out, and then it like hissed at us and then like kind of swam away in the other direction. And that was it. It didn't bite anybody. It was fine. Like, you know, we were far more terrifying to that snake than it was to us. But that was a very harrowing experience. And I'm like, on this not shore area where I will eventually need to swim back to shore where I know there's a snake in there now.
Yeah.
And so I had to like it work up the nerve for like 20 minutes to like swim back to the shore in snake infested waters. And of course there weren't any more snakes, but still, yeah. That's my
no, that's pretty good. Yeah. I sea creature. I mean, I know a snake swimming isn't a sea creature, but things in the water scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
That's definitely like up there with me. I wouldn't say it's my like greatest fear, but like all that shit at the bottom of the ocean scares the shit out of me, dude. Fucking anglerfish are like
they
terrifying.
Suck. I hate those.
Yeah, dude, just the creepiest shit down there, man. Just like weird distorted fish that are like all weird and they're big.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the part
things
that
in the bottom of the sea, like they have a whole different pecking order. Like you have a whole different set of skills that you need to survive at that level.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, why are squid that big?
They shouldn't be that big.
They shouldn't be that big.
You seen those like War of the Worlds looking at squids, like the ones with like the really, really long legs, but like kind of go at a right angle. I got to show you a picture later.
Holy shit.
They look like tripods, but like more legs.
Oh, fuck that, dude.
Yeah,
fuck
I can't remember
that.
what they're called, but
I can't because like I think giant squids are like 60 feet long,
something like that. Like way too big.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, and I get it. They're down there. They can't come up and hurt me without like turning into like jelly.
Yeah.
But holy shit, it still scares me so bad. Like anytime like I watch a video of it, I'm like, oh, I don't feel good.
There was this guy on. He's on TikTok, but I would see his re-uploads on Twitter or on YouTube. It's called like Hood Nature, and he was talking about at one point he was talking about like a giant octopus or something, like not that big. It's like I don't know, 20 feet, which is like still horrifying.
Yeah.
But he was like, okay, so before I tell you this next fact about the giant octopus, go ahead and look at the crack under your bedroom door. Go ahead and look, and like look, you know what the crack beneath your door looks like.
Yeah.
A giant octopus can fit under that.
No.
It could slip itself under that.
Fuck.
Yeah. Octopuses are like have no fucking bones or nothing. So they can get into the net, like into the ittiest little cracks and just squish themselves through.
Well, and they're smart too.
Yeah,
like,
they're really smart.
If they ever really like got their shit together, like, oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only problem is they're also very squishy and easy to bite into and also delicious. They're very tasty. So,
oh, that's fair.
Yeah. So
you
they're
fry
pretty,
those dudes up.
Yeah. So like they can live for a long time, but most octopuses die in a year.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I'm still scared of them.
Oh yeah. Same. I mean, I'm scared but fascinated when it comes to octopuses. I don't want to I don't want to encounter one in the wild, but like, I don't know. I'd hang out with like an octopus that like an expert told me was safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go that far, but again, I'm like afraid of the sea. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I feel like a lot of people have died out in the ocean, and I'm just heeding their warning. The sea is scary, and I don't like it.
Yeah. It's a lot of apparently moray eels can be very friendly.
Oh, interesting.
Real fucked up faces.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. I mean, like, fish are like the closest thing to like aliens, like sea creatures. I
would say so.
Like, because just the environment they have evolved in is so dramatically different than land.
Yeah.
You know? Just fucking real weirdos down there, man.
Have you seen what happens to male salmon when mating season starts?
No.
They go goblin mode. Like they kind of start looking like goblin sharks. It's horrifying.
That's really scary. Goblin shark's another scary one.
Goblin sharks are terrifying. They shoot the mouth out.
Yeah. Goblin sharks. I guess just sharks in general. I mean, I get it. They're not that dangerous. We don't need to like go killing them and all that. However, scary.
If I saw a shark, I'd kill the shit out of that.
Yeah, I would. People are like, you can just punch him in the nose. I'm like,
I could punch him to death. Fucking great white. I wish. Look, let me find a great white lacking out there. I'll get him.
Well, I've always hated the whole like just punch him in the nose and you'll be good. It's like if a shark is swimming at me, the last thing I'm thinking is, I just uppercut the nose, right? Like, and also you're underwater, your movement is like half. You know,
that's very true.
Like you're not in your element. Yeah. Like if I found a shark on land, maybe I'd feel a little more confident.
Yeah,
but that's not.
What you want to do is you want to get the shark in like a triangle hold with your legs. And illegal MMA move, 12-6 elbow. Just bam, right there. Yeah,
right on the back of his head.
Hit him with the Tony Jaa shit. Just bam.
Get him right there. Tap out.
The shark's like wearing a tap out t-shirt. We don't tap out, we pass out. Man. Taking all challenges from sharks. Get over here.
I also really fucking hate those what are they, like Japanese like spider crabs?
Oh, the ones that you like a tsunami will happen or whatever, and you find them like clinging to the sides of cars and shit.
Yeah,
like,
and they're
wrapped around
huge.
a car.
Yeah.
Horrifying creatures.
Yeah. And I feel like this is like,
I bet they're delicious though.
Oh yeah. I feel like this is peak human nature, like, or especially like this stage of human nature. No animal is a threat to like us for the most part.
Like,
right?
existentially speaking, like now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and like outside of like a scorpion or something that's like way out of its element and in my room or something, like I'm never gonna be like in danger of them. But God, are they so scary?
They're just spooky. Yeah.
Yeah, too much.
Yeah. I mean, we got like black widows, I guess. It's like the only, and like I guess there's some wildcats in California somewhere.
Yeah.
That's about the most terrifying it gets here, I think.
Yeah, occasionally like a bobcat will show up in West Sacramento.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what? Okay, speaking of spooky land animals, I saw a video on Twitter today that was like a hiker hiding behind a tree as a moose went down the trail. I saw that same
video, yeah.
Dude, that thing is... I knew moose were big. That thing was like seeing it from a human perspective.
You think that they are, yeah.
I know, dude. It was like double horse.
I saw a video of it was like in Alaska or something, and like traffic was like it was like bad weather or something like that, and like traffic was at a standstill, and there was a moose just walking between the cars. It was towering over those fucking things. Like in my head, I'm like, a moose is like, it's a big ass deer. It's like it's about horse size. That thing's a fucking kaiju. Like those things are terrifying,
huge.
Yeah,
and those antlers are like children's size, like big children, like the children that you'd be worried about. Children, you know.
I think I'd struggle to take one of those down with my bare hands. I think that would be a real test of my might.
I like even
give me a run for my money. I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Boxing match though, if he had to obey the rules, I think I could get him.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, if he's got to wear gloves and he can't headbutt or anything, done deal. Fucking yeah.
Welcome to our domain with rules.
It's like Ip Man 2, where they tell him he can't kick. None of that fancy Chinese boxing over here. You have to use the old dukes. He still
none of that fancy Canadian shit, moose.
Welcome to the art of two limbs, old left and right.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, nature's terrifying.
Nature's very terrifying. I'm trying to think if there's any birds that we went sea, land, now to air.
Oh, birds are friends for the most part. Oh no, wait, no, I got attacked by a goose one time. Fuck that guy.
Oh, fuck geese.
Fuck that goose especially, but like geese and swans, fuck them both.
Yeah, birds are real fucked, or like geese are real fucked up.
Yeah,
ducks are pretty fucked up if you hold them to human standards of.
They are, but like I could take any duck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't think there's a duck big enough. I'm trying to think of like. Even the biggest bird isn't that big, and it still has hollow bones. Talons are definitely a threat, but like...
Oh, the biggest birds are like an ostrich. I wouldn't fight an ostrich.
Oh, I forgot about those motherfuckers. I forgot about
like flying birds, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Condors can get pretty big, I think.
Ostriches don't fuck around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We, like, emus have to be like one of the few animals that we have, like, humankind has fought a war against and lost.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of... I mean, I'm sure, like, villages have been destroyed by, like, tigers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess.
But like, you've never like.
I'm talking like a government, like you know, like with guns and shit. You know, still could not get rid of emus.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a question for you. If animals could team up, right, and all of the animals in the world decided to team up and take down humanity, do you think they'd win?
Do they have? Is this a Planet of the Apes scenario where they get enhanced intelligence, or like the only thing that changes to their cognitive ability is that they want to team up?
I would the second one. So they're able to like maybe like communicate and maybe even coordinate a little bit, but they're still as smart as they are now. But now their main goal is to kill humanity.
I think with the ability to coordinate like to any degree, I think that they become like a real serious threat.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that they win that war ultimately, but I think they do drastically like reduce our population if they tried.
That'd be That'd be sick.
Yeah.
I mean, that would not be sick in real life, but that'd be like a good movie or whatever.
That'd be a cool thing to read about in like a history book.
Yeah.
Like if that happened to us now and then I was reincarnated into a future student and reading that, I'd be like, oh, that's dope.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really want to exist where like scorpions are like, let's sneak in and fuck these dudes up.
Yeah.
Like,
You can ride ostriches in like there's places you can go in Australia and ride them.
Really?
But because they are, birds and stuff, there's like a pretty strict weight limit on there. It's like 160 pounds or something.
Okay, and so no Americans.
I was like, I read that at like 19 or something like that. I was like, fuck, you could ride ostriches? Hell yeah, I'm going. And then like I saw the weight limit. I was like, I'm never going to weigh 160 pounds. I'm never going to be Donkey Kong Country. This is just never going to happen.
Yeah, I think the lightest I think when I was like 18, I weighed I weighed about 160. And that's like the lightest as a post-pubescent adult that I've ever weighed.
Yeah.
So so no ostriches for me either, I guess.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
Maybe we can ride a rhino or a swordfish.
Oh, rhinos always seem like such a badass animal to like ride or whatever, but apparently they're like pretty chill.
Apparently rhinos are like have the disposition of like dogs, like they're very friendly, but they live in like environments with a lot of predators, so they have to be like on their guard, and they also have terrible eyesight. So like if they see you, they will charge, but if you somehow manage to get close enough to a rhino to establish that you weren't a threat, it would probably be pretty chill with you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's like mainly that they're like horribly nearsighted and like they're like kill first, ask questions later.
Damn.
Because it's like chances are good that like whatever they're looking at that's like roughly its size or whatever, like that's as tall as a human is probably a threat. It's like probably, a jaguar or a fucking, or just a hunter, something like that. So
they have the mentality that cops think that
real life they have like a good reason to think so. It's like a lot of people kill rhinos for like their horns and shit.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's always really sad. The whole like hunt, like rhinos and elephants, like taking them down for their tusks and stuff like that.
That one elephant did nothing wrong.
Oh, that killed that guy?
The one that killed that lady and then came back and stomped her out in the funeral.
Oh, really? Oh,
did you hear about that?
No, I missed that one.
Oh, yeah. So there was a funeral for a lady. I want to say it was in India, but maybe it was somewhere else. They're holding a funeral. Elephant comes in out of fucking nowhere. The same one that killed her. And fucking stomps her shit out in the coffin.
Oh!
And apparently this elephant had traveled, like basically burst through her wall, dragged her out and killed her ass to begin with, and walked hella miles to do so. Like this was a grudge. I have not read exactly like what it was she did. She must have like murdered all of its children in front of it or something.
Holy shit.
But
dude.
that elephant was like out for that one lady's blood. And fucking got it.
Got it twice. Holy
twice.
Shit.
Yeah,
you don't hear about somebody getting it twice from an animal.
You have to be really pissed off to come to somebody's funeral and stomp them out again.
I know. You really got to hate somebody for that.
Yeah.
God, I hope she sucked. Like,
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm like, really. But knowing how people are to elephants, I'm like, I don't know. I got to hear this whole story before I say anything against the elephant. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is probably an urban myth, but I heard this story one time after it was an island kind of in the Pacific, kind of near like China and stuff like that. There was like a typhoon or something that went through and it like really like messed up the ecosystem there.
Yeah.
And so there's all these tigers on the island and they had like lost a lot of their like habitat and their like food sources.
Oh yeah.
So they started like hunting people.
Oh, is this where the people had to wear the masks on the back of their heads?
Yeah. So because the tigers won't go for you if they think you're looking at them. So
which is crazy. Like it's like a fucked up game of red light, green light.
Yeah. So you'd have families that were like just sitting in their homes, like eating dinner, and a tiger would just come out of nowhere and just grab one of them and just drag them off into the jungle.
Fucking wild.
Dude, right? What a fucking that's a horror movie.
That is a horror movie. Attack of the Killer Tigers.
Yeah, and like, okay, cool, we killed that tiger. There's more out there, and they're all
so
doing
many
this
more
shit.
Tigers. That's so crazy. They won't attack if they think you're looking at it though. Like I don't know. Like maybe a lot of people around that area were just had guns on them or something like that. Were able to like shoot tigers real good when they were charging. But I don't know. Yeah, I think like. Even if I was looking directly at a tiger, I think I'd have a hard time taking down a tiger.
I think a lot of animals probably overestimate humans without weapons, you know?
Underestimate me a lot of the time is the thing. Tiger, though, that's a pretty worthy matchup.
Yeah. I feel like anything with like claws really has an advantage in a one-on-one fight there.
Especially with like the muscles necessary to just like take my head off with one swipe, you know?
Yeah, it's like
that'd be pretty tough.
Humanity really evolved to like make tools and stuff. You take that away and it's like we can run a long time.
Some humans can run a long time. I can't.
Yeah. But they say that was the thing with early humanity is like we were like slower than like every other animal in the wherever we were hunting them, but we could just keep running and the other animal couldn't.
Yeah, like so you just like even if we were like just walking or something like that, you'd track a fucking woolly mammoth for 2 weeks or something like that, and it would have to just constantly stay on the move to keep away from the humans.
Yeah,
and eventually it's like I can't fucking walk anymore. What do you want? It's fucking it follows out here. Can't goddamn do anything. And then we just get them.
We absolutely followed caribou.
That was the hunting style back then. Yeah, that's how you did it. We're gonna fucking stalk this mammoth for a month.
I mean, that's scary.
That is scary.
It Follows is a scary movie.
It is a scary movie.
Speaking of Halloween.
The scariest movie about an STD I can think of.
Yeah, I'm trying. There's got to be other STD movies.
There was one I watched. I went to what they called a relationship camp for church in my middle school youth group.
I kind of know what you're talking about. Yeah,
they showed us like you know, like how they did like in Driver's Ed, they did like the movies or the video PSA documentary.
Yeah, blood on the asphalt.
That's right. Yeah, they had that for STDs pretty much. And so they were like,
oh shit.
Someone's like, I just had unprotected sex with my boyfriend one time and now I have warts on my vagina. And it's like just scary stuff. Like just telling you scary shit like that to tell you to never have sex, you know? Yeah. I went to one of those. That was pretty spooky.
That's pretty spooky. Yeah. My broke ass like rural school just had we had like a projector that they put like laminates on.
Ooh, there you go.
And those had pictures of STDs and it's like, this is why sex is scary. The one, it was interesting though, like we went to like the town I was in was like fairly conservative. Mm-hmm. But the school itself actually like it was like, here's how to use a condom, here's like if you're going to have sex, here's how you should use it.
Oh, that's pretty good.
They go up to like any size, so don't believe a dude who's like, oh, I'm too big for condoms.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of stuff like that. So it's like I actually got an okay education on it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. The one thing I do remember a lot though is we spent a lot, and I mean a lot of time in sex ed class learning about the different like organ parts of like here's the vas deferens and all these other parts.
The fallopian tube and all that stuff. And
I think all of that is like in terms of like sex and not having STDs and also like not getting pregnant and all that stuff. None of that shit really matters.
It's a bit more like academic than it is functional. Like, you know, it's still good to know in the same way that like knowing how atoms and molecules work, I guess. But
but like your day to day is not necessarily improved because like, electrons,
chemical bonding, of course. Oh, negative ions, of course. Naturally.
It all tracks.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, it's good to know in like a general sense.
Yeah, I don't remember any of it.
I remember like a little bit, like this much.
Yeah,
I don't know what an electron is.
I know where the electron is on a woman, and I know, but I don't know how my penis works.
No, yeah, only so many weeks you can teach this kind of stuff. You know, had to take sex ed 2 for that one. Yeah.
Oh shit. Well, do we want to get into the real spooky star of this?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Okay. So like I said, we watched the first 6 episodes of Higurashi.
Yeah.
When They Cry.
Higurashi When They Cry, or Higurashi no Naku Koro ni. Yeah.
There we go. From 2006. Yep. You want to give a brief breakdown of the show?
So this is based on the, I think, 2000 visual novel by 07th Expansion of the same name. This is about a group of 5 kids of varying ages in this rural community called Hinamizawa. There is some freaky cosmic shit going on around a deity, a village deity named oh god, what's the name of it?
I'm just gonna put this out there now. I know no one's name.
No one's there. Oh, I got you on the character names.
I can't even help you with that one.
It's like something Sama. They call it like, fuck.
It's like Orishima Sama or something.
Yeah. God, man. I remember like all the other fucking words, but not. Oh, Yashiro Sama. Yeah.
Hey.
There we go. So basically, this god's causing some weird fucky shit, and these kids are going through this cosmic time loop where the same week or so keeps passing, and every single time one of them goes some degree of insane and some murders end up happening. And so in the episodes that we watched, this girl, Reina, and her best friend, and her friend Keiichi, end up in this psychotic war or like battle to the death kind of situation where like he's not sure if she's crazy, and then she goes crazy, and then crazy shit happens.
Yeah, he's got to figure all that out and everything. Yeah, it's I like so the first 4 episodes cover the first sort of time loop, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the next 2 are a separate one.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. Yeah, like, no, it keeps going.
Like episode 4 had a pretty tidy bow on it. I was like, wow, really? Where are they going to go here?
Yeah, 22 more episodes. What's happening?
Yeah, like, okay.
Yeah.
But I actually really liked that because it's I think it works really well because it's like horror. I think it works like these stories get really good pacing because they can just kind of keep them tight to an extent, you know?
Yeah.
And then the next one's almost like a completely different story. It just happens to involve the same characters.
Yeah, and like take place around the same time. Like the cotton drifting festival happens every time.
Yeah, like I guess in the second loop they also didn't really have to introduce the characters and their personalities as much.
Yeah.
Because you already kind of know it. But even then it still felt so different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like new characters are introduced and like just it goes down very differently. It's almost like I don't know if you're familiar with this, but the second season of The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya ended up doing what is famously dubbed the Endless Eight. Where so Haruhi is like the god of that universe, right? And at one point she's trying to like relive a certain day perfectly. And so each episode is a retelling of that day, but only with like minor differences. So like the characters' outfits will be different. And instead of watching the baseball game in the morning, Kyon is watching the news or something like that. But by and large, it's the same episode 8 times. This does that a lot better, I think, where it's like there's things that you like anchor points like, oh, okay, the Wataganashi festival is going to happen every time. But like, you know, it's from a different perspective. We kind of see different things happening and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You know, basically the same stuff is happening, but it keeps it fresh every time, it seems.
Yeah, and I think that could definitely like work in this show's favor, like long term too. Because I like the idea of like horror anthology movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Most of the time I find like the whole is pretty boring, but there'll be like 1 or 2 where I'm like, oh shit, this is really good.
Yeah, like when it actually pops off. But like, yeah, a lot of that build up. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I like that it's almost like a anthology type thing. There's a little bit more to it there.
But the visual novels, so the way that it was originally done was like each arc, like that 4 episodes we watched was one arc. Each arc was its own visual novel, like, and they were like distributed in a series. And that first one I think took me about 10, because I've read the first one and I'm like started on the second one. I think it took me like close to 8 to 10 hours to finish it. Like it's much longer. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I'm like a pretty fast reader too. So like, you know, there's so much more of like the kids just hanging out and being buds and like playing games and doing all this stuff. And then every once in a while would just throw in something that was like kind of just a little strange. But like it took like 6 hours to get to the part where Reina even like really cracks, like more than just kind of her like brusque answers to Keiichi's questions about the guy being lynched or whatever. So like you really kind of get a feel for these characters, and then all of a sudden something's a little off and you kind of sweep it under the rug like, yeah, whatever, it was just a strange little occurrence. And then it starts getting more and more creepy, and like you don't really want to believe it because of how much time you've spent with them at that point. And this kind of does away with that, but I think it does a really good job of like pacing. Like you feel a kind of connection to these characters. You feel like, you know, fond of like their goofy hijinks and stuff like that. And then something just goes a little off and you're like, huh, that was strange. I'm sure that didn't mean much. And then eventually we get to where we end up in episode 4.
Yeah. Well, and we were talking about it like while we were watching, is like Whiplash makes it sound too mean, but like it's almost like a jump scare when like they're having all this fun, they're doing all these things, and then all of a sudden the character's like, why are you lying to me?
Yeah.
and it gets like really serious. Like the music like stops. Like it's a jump scare in a more, I guess, kind of uncomfortable and psychological way. But it does feel like a whoosh, like
just everything kind of comes to a screeching halt for a moment.
Yeah, and it feels uncomfortable. And I liked that in this show a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I could definitely, because I played Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a similar thing where you're just hanging out with these characters for like probably 4 hours before anything happens. Maybe not that
long.
Like
a good amount of time. Like, probably around 3 at least, I think.
Yeah. Honestly, like half the game is just hanging out with these characters.
Yeah.
And it being a little weird sometimes.
Yeah.
You know? And that's also a really good game. And probably the only spooky visual novel I've played.
I've played a couple of. Well, I played a couple. I played House and Fata Morgana. I haven't finished it. I'm working on it, but I'm like pretty far along in that. And I also read all of Song of Saya, which was a strange one.
Yeah, so. I've been wanting to. That's been forever on my bucket list as long as I've known you.
Yeah, that's a pretty strange one. Yeah, I don't know if I can recommend it to anybody, but it sure is interesting.
That's my favorite review. Yeah. No, so this is so there, like you were saying, there's like 10 different visual novels that are all this similar thing. So that's where the show seems to get its stuff from. Have you like finished this show before?
No. I've actually the visual novel is like the most I've consumed of Higurashi, but like I started I guess I quote unquote got into it with the 2020 reboot of Higurashi Go. Which is like it's a remake retelling, but like also kind of different. But people say it like sticks very closely to the visual novel in other ways. I don't know. But yeah, I watched that and I was like, I feel like even though this is telling the story from the beginning, I feel like I'm walking into something halfway. Like just the way that it presents its information kind of makes it feel like there's some things I'm supposed to know already. So then I just started reading the VN. And I'm only going to use original character, like the character portraits. Fuck the new character portraits. Those horrible giant floppy things are my favorite.
Yeah, let's talk about the visuals of this show and also the visuals of that the visual novel.
Yeah,
because you were saying, like, so watching the show, it's like a very 2006 anime.
Totally. Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of like moe stuff, a lot of like characters turning chibi, or like those like shorthand animations that are really cute.
Yeah.
A lot of that, which I think works really well in this show because it contrasts the scarier stuff.
I agree. Yeah.
But these characters look so. It's like that peak. Like I'm just gonna make a character weird because I can.
Yeah.
Like everybody's got a different hair color. That's mostly how I remember the different characters.
Yeah.
And then like the biggest one is that one of the characters just straight up has a gun.
Mion got that thing on her.
Yeah, she's got a fucking strap with a gun, and it never comes up. Apparently.
Never. Nobody mentions. I mean, in any Higurashi that I have experienced, no one has even mentioned the gun that she has in a holster on her like shoulder area.
It's like. So, but it's just one of those choices where it's like, well, I'm just gonna do that because I think it looks kind of interesting.
Yeah, only in her street clothes. It does not bring the gun to school.
Yeah,
it's important.
Very responsible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I so then you showed me the visual novel, and I guess they updated it, but the visual novel has the look of like how to draw anime for like middle schoolers. You know, like
it's got a very like bulgy DeviantArt style to it.
Yeah.
The characters look like they have 3 fingers and just like gigantic heads, and just and the backgrounds are all just kind of like real photos that have just kind of like got some weird filters on them to make them look more. I think it's supposed to be going for like a painting effect, but like doesn't really quite look like that.
I know those Photoshop filters.
Yeah. I love it. I love the look of the like. I tried playing with the updated character portraits and stuff. I was like, this is not nearly as interesting.
Yeah, I think there's a certain level of charm to the like look of it.
Yeah,
like the visual novel and this show too. Like it's of its era, but like in a way that I think works still.
Yeah,
you know,
I think so. Yeah, like I think that the 2006 anime holds up like very well.
Yeah. I never got too too bothered by the visuals. Everything made sense too, even if some things looked a little generic. Like the protagonist is like could be in any shonen show.
He really could, yeah.
Yeah, like you could plop him straight into like Digimon and he could be any of those characters.
He dresses a little bit like a Digimon character.
Yeah, he's got like a vest on top of a shirt, like with a he's got a whole thing.
Yeah,
on.
It's like kind of a shorter vest, like it only kind of comes up to his like midriff, but then he's got like a kind of tight like black shirt under it. And some kind of like camo shorts or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, the kind of clothes that like only anime and like cyberpunk characters wear.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but I think that the like we were saying, visuals work pretty well. The hands are definitely a little weird in some shots. There's one scene in particular in like the 5th episode where a character is like holding 2 cups of tea.
Yeah.
And like there are long shots where they're just kind of sitting on these characters talking. And like we just gravitated instantly to those weird noodle hands.
Like all you can see when you notice it.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was like the guy had like a minute to draw hands and like dropped his pencil.
Yeah, just kind of like a weird flesh-shaped square with some bumps on it. It's wonderful
on both sides. So it looks like the hand is more of like a claw with like fingers on both sides. Incredible.
It's the best. Yeah.
And I'm not trying to like dock on the show or anything like that. Like it's bad. It's just like,
sure.
That definitely like I was like, oh man, oh this is wild.
Yeah. It's like production wise, I like the show quite a bit.
Yeah.
Music's a lot of fun too.
Music, yeah. I don't remember as much because a lot of the audio is cicadas.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
For those at home, Higurashi, Higurashi no Naku Koro literally translates to when the cicadas cry. So, you know.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I remember it had something to do with cicadas. I couldn't remember that translation.
Yeah. I don't know if it literally. I think it literally translates to that though. All the it's always translated in the VN and everything like that as when the cicadas cry or the cicadas when they cry, what have you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess for anybody that doesn't know, the whole deal with cicadas is that if it's really quiet and it's summertime in Japan, you hear the cicadas, and they're these loud fucking bugs.
They're like. It's my best cicada sound.
Yeah, the worst sound.
Yeah.
I still get mad at that sound in anime to an extent. I know the context now, so it doesn't bother me as much, but it's still like that episode of Evangelion where Shinji's like out in the middle of nowhere and he's like contemplating his life and the cicadas are just super fucking loud.
Yeah.
I thought something was wrong with like my TV or something. I was like, what is this?
I think in that Boku no Natsu Yasumi video, Tim Rogers kind of talks about like, you know, just sort of like packaging up your own nostalgia and like, you know, giving it to somebody else. I think that like having watched so many animes where like that ends up being a signifier of like it's a quiet summer day, like has kind of like latched onto me too. Like it makes me nostalgic for summer vacations, even though I live in a place where like I've never heard cicadas naturally, except that one trip to the East Coast I made recently. Heard like one time.
Yeah. Well, it only takes one because they're so big.
Yeah.
That's the other terrifying
big ass fucking bugs. I know they're harmless, but Jesus.
Yeah. I don't. Well, it's just like those, like the big bumblebees.
Oh God, I hate those.
Yeah, absolutely terrifying. Will probably never fuck with you if you don't fuck with them, but like terrifying. A bug shouldn't be that big.
No,
and he's moving. Fuck that.
I'll go fucking Roger Federer on one of those things. I got a tennis club bat swing club. What do they call those? Tennis racket. I got a tennis racket. I'll fucking
my fucking tennis stick.
My tennis club.
Get this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just my picnic's somewhere else now. Like I'm not having that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess we can kind of talk about the arc and a half that we watched. So the first arc was it like Snatched by a Demon or
Onikakashi was the original name of it. I think it's Snatched. I think Snatched by a Demon was what they called it.
Yeah. And
Spirited Away or whatever.
And the deal is in the town during the Cotton Drifting Festival, which is like the big town festival. Someone will get killed and someone else will disappear under mysterious circumstances. And that festival's coming up and like who's doing it? What's going on? And the main character becomes friends with like these girls who are in this like gaming club. And pretty quickly, like I love the tone shift of like everybody's best friends, and then by the second episode, he like is like, something seems a little off. Like, why aren't they telling me about the dismemberment? And he's like, hey, are you guys lying to me about stuff? And the girl just like turns it around on him. Like, who are you talking to? Why are you talking to the cops? Like, why are you doing all this stuff? Are you lying to me? And it's like, all of a sudden he's like on his back foot.
Yeah.
And he's on his back foot for like the next like 2 or 3 episodes. And I was like, oh, this is so heavy.
And that's kind of, the really like the interesting hook of it is that like, you know, you can tell something's wrong. Like, you know, from Keiichi's perspective, like you can tell something's up. But then, like, you know, you try to bring it to someone that you think you kind of trust, you know, like he and Reina are good friends. And then she's like, no, you're being stupid. Or like, you know, you're accusing us of lying. You've been lying about these things. You were talking to a fucking cop when you said you were called to the principal's office, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we all have secrets. What's your fucking problem? And he's like, oh, well, now, and I feel like in that moment, Keiichi's like, well, I guess I'm the asshole. Shit, you know?
Yeah.
But he did have reason to, you know, have some suspicions, we find out.
Well, and he's definitely like the paranoia sets in a really natural way where it's like these characters are like accusing him. They're being really like threatening to him. And they, you know, as far as you know, they could be behind these murders and disappearances.
Yeah.
So if they've gotten away with it for like 5 years or whatever, or they're a part of whatever has gotten away with it for 5 years, what the fuck are you going to do?
Yeah.
You
totally.
know? As an outsider who barely knows anything, all you're doing is getting in trouble. And it's super scary.
That's true. Like on one hand, like Keiichi is like clearly hasn't seen enough horror movies in his life or something. Because like, you know, when he hears about this, like so the backstory is in Hinamizawa, the government was planning on building a dam that was going to basically cause Hinamizawa to be like flooded and turned into a reservoir. Obviously, the people were unhappy about that. They've staged all these protests and stuff. At one point, one of the workers on the dam project ended up being lynched and cut into a bunch of pieces and stuff like that. Nobody talks about it. And so Keiichi hears about this from an outsider, from God damn it, I can't remember his name. Photographer guy. Yeah. Hears about it from Tomitake. Hears about it from Jiro Tomitake and goes like, huh, nobody told me that before. And then when he brings it up to Reina, like, hey, this should be news. And she's like, oh yeah, I have no idea. And then like, when he presses her on it, she like gets defensive. And that continues to happen. Where was my point of this?
I don't know. But
he should know better than to keep poking around. I think.
Especially when everybody, because there's been other deaths, and a couple of them were basically like one was a guy who was like a proponent of the dam in the town. He died. Like everybody died under these weird circumstances or disappeared and all that.
There's this kind of constant theme of like with the people of Hinamizawa, you are one of us or you are an outsider. And if you are an outsider, then like, you know, and you cause any trouble, we'll get you.
Yeah.
You know, and when Keiichi kind of labels himself an outsider in you know, asking around about this situation, that's when things get ugly for him.
Well, and he makes the big mistake of talking to the cops, and the weirdest detective.
Don't talk to the cops.
Don't talk to the cops. But he makes the weirdest, like that cop is so weird.
He's got air conditioning in his car though.
There you go. Yeah. No, like there's such a good scene in that second or third episode where the main character is talking to the cop in his car, and it's like, the cop is just saying all of the details. Because at this point, the photographer guy has like died and his like girlfriend wife has also disappeared.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, you were the last people to see them alive. Do you have any details? And he's like, yeah, I don't really know anything. And the cop's like, so anyway, so they disappeared at this time. They did this. They were over here. And then he's like giving this kid all of the fucking details.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if that's what cops do. And then like the next episode, he's like, hey, can we go get like lunch and talk about the details of the case?
Into a fucking cosplay cafe.
Yes. There's like a maid in like basically like a bunny girl outfit, like not far off from it, like serving them coffee as they're talking about this case. I'm like, why is the cop bringing this teenager here? What is this?
Even outside of the propriety of like being a cop, like I feel like there's a certain level of like, maybe don't talk to a 15-year-old about gruesome murders that happened to someone he knew very recently. Because like, you know, he says, it's like, hey, when's the last time you saw Tomitake and his colleague or whatever? And he's like, oh, I saw him last night. He's like, yeah, since then he clawed out his own, he like clawed his throat until he like hit the artery you should never touch. That's a weird way to say that.
That was such a good line too. It's like, got the artery you shouldn't touch. I'm like, I don't know if there's a lot of arteries I should be like touching.
No, the other one's totally fine. Just not that one. Yeah.
We had like a bit while watching it where he's like, oh, he touched the forbidden artery.
He can't help himself. He loves it.
It's so tempting.
It's calling to him like the Ring of Power. Just like, I gotta touch this one. Come on.
That was really funny too, because he dies in the second arc and it's like the same thing. He's like, I got him again.
He can't help himself. He's just, he's a machine. He's a mess. He can't stop. They don't do it quite as hard in this one, but I think in Go and also in the visual novel, Oishi and the narrator mention the air conditioning in his car like a really weird amount of times. Like when he invites Keiichi to sit in his car with him, he's like, "Oh, let's go to my car. It's got air conditioning." And then like the first line is like, "The car is air conditioning, blew hot, crisp, cold air into the car." And then like, he says something, and then like, what's his name tries to light a cigarette, but like the air conditioning is messing with his lighter. And so it just keeps mentioning the fucking air conditioning over and over.
The author just got a car with air conditioning and he is stoked.
It's like, it's so fucking muggy here in the summer, and now I got a car with air conditioning, and everybody needs to know.
I mean, to be fair, AC is pretty great.
AC is great.
Yeah. Like I sometimes I'm like, we should go back in technology and all that, but wherever we go, let's bring air conditioning.
Yeah.
It's so great.
Because like, I don't know what it gets like temperature wise, but I hear it's very humid in Japan, and humid plus heat is a real bummer.
Yeah. That's why I can never live on the East Coast. I cannot deal with like when the humidity just goes up like a little bit in Sacramento, I get so fucking complaining. Like I can't shut up. And then like I was on the East Coast, I was in DC, and it was like 90 something humidity, 110 degrees.
Oof,
like end
nasty.
me. Yeah. End me.
Yeah. West Africa gets crazy humid, but luckily not that hot. Like I think the hottest was like high 80s or something like that. But like it's so humid that like when you step off the plane and take your first breath, like it gets stuck a little bit.
Oh.
You're like, like it takes a second to adjust.
Like, why is the air thick?
Yeah, it's thick.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Yeah. And that takes a while to get used to. I had to like sleep for 24 hours pretty much. But yeah.
But yeah, I would be excited about AC in a car if I was in that circumstance.
Exactly.
I'd
yeah.
spend
More
the rest of
power
my
to you,
vacation in that car.
Yeah. Yes. Oishi-san, he's got air conditioning in his car.
He's got air conditioning in his car.
That's important. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of weird little idiosyncrasies with the series that they're very charming.
Charming. I mean, that's the vibe I have from the show is that it's very like it's written from the perspective of like somebody who has a bunch of like fun ideas and isn't very concerned with how people would behave realistically.
No, yeah.
Like everything the cop is doing is super weird, but he's a really good way to like advance the plot and give someone for the protagonist to kind of latch onto that could help him, but it doesn't have the most direct power here.
And it gives us kind of a bird's eye view of the situation too, because Keiichi is like largely in the dark and nobody else is really revealing what's going on. So like he's a good just kind of mouthpiece for like, this person was killed at this time and he was found here. There were no drugs in his system, but it seems like he killed himself. Very odd. I wonder what's going to happen next. And then, he just kind of drops the whole fucking case file in front of Keiichi.
Yeah.
He's like, this is everything that's happened in this town. Every murder that's happened in the last 5 years.
Well, this cop loves hot goss. Like he
sure does.
He divulged all of like the history of his friends, like of the main character's friends, like immediately. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, she has to take drugs for psychotics because she hit like 4 people with a baseball bat when she was in like middle school.
Yeah,
like
and your other friend Satoko, her older brother Satoshi just went missing last year, and was like, it's crazy. He was acting a lot like you were actually. Yeah. That Mion girl, don't get me started. Oh my goodness. Yeah. That one that carries the gun everywhere? Oh.
I know, right? In Japan.
Yeah, that's the funny thing is like, I think as I understand it, it's very difficult to get guns in Japan. Like just any kind of, like even a handgun is like, you gotta have some access and some connections.
Yeah.
Know?
And I would really doubt that you could just wear it out in the open like that.
Very unlikely.
Yeah. But I don't know. Rural towns are different.
I guess. Yeah. Country living,
Yeah. Everybody's got a gun in the country. So.
Yeah. That's what I learned watching Gunsmoke, I guess.
And Hot Fuzz.
And Bonanza.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I watched a lot of Westerns with my dad.
So I really like how when things start to escalate in this arc, it gets like really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like in a way that's both like scary and kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like he's basically like in the later half like haunted by the brown hair girl.
Rena.
Yeah. And it's so funny that there's like this like cute anime girl outside who's like drawn very anime style, like not realistically at all. And he's just like, she's outside. She's just standing there in the rain. And then it like zooms in and there's like just this anime girl sitting there smiling. Like, and he's like,
she's constantly repeating, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Which is pretty spooky. Like if I looked outside the window and saw an anime girl doing that, I'd react similarly.
Yeah.
I'd probably come out with a baseball bat too.
There's a really good Junji Ito manga that's basically about a guy who can melt people's brains by apologizing to them.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Maybe she was trying that.
Yeah. Well, and it's really scary too because like she's trying to bring him food. Like the arc starts with her bringing him food and it's like really cute. And then they get food again and there's like a sewing needle in his food.
Yeah.
So like it's like, oh shit, they were like trying to get me.
Yeah.
And then she like is like, oh, I brought you more food. And he's got the latch on his door. Well, okay, first, I love that he opens the door to figure out what's going on with the latch on there.
Yeah.
And she instantly pulls the door.
Yeah.
Like, just, hey, what's up? And she starts like pulling on the chain and stuff, too.
And the moment she realizes she can't get to him, that's when the cutesy voice comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, even after a lot of those moments, like her cutesy demeanor is kind of disarming. Like when she expresses concern about him because he's acting just like how Satoshi did, like it makes you kind of want to be like, oh, maybe I'm overreacting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very good at that.
Well, and there's also an element of, too, when she's like, you're acting just like this, what was it, Satoshi?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're acting just like the Satoshi guy. He was swinging around a baseball bat. He was acting really weird. And there's like the part of, at least for me, where I'm like, oh, shit, maybe he's going crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And
I think it might be like an unreliable
fine.
narrator. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, oh shit, like maybe they are fine. Like maybe she is just a normal, cute anime girl.
Yeah.
And he's just having some weird psychotic breakdown.
Yeah.
But you don't know. And so it's like, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
She's scary.
Yeah. I feel like the only thing that like really kind of leads me away from that possibility is the recap at the very end where Oishi finds the note that Keiichi has left behind and the note has been doctored and something's been taken from it.
Yeah. I really I love the ending of this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's so like when he's being chased by like the Amazon delivery workers.
Oh yeah.
And like when he's at his house and he's going to be injected with like some weird thing that he doesn't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like trying to figure out what's going on. And like these workers are like pulling up to his house in these like nondescript work uniforms.
Yeah.
And like a scientist, and they're trying to get into his house. It's like, who the fuck are these people?
Yeah.
What is going on? And I don't think they explain it in that arc. No. And so it's just like, what the fuck is happening? Like that's really scary to me.
Yeah. There's some stuff, like if I recall what I've seen of the second arc correctly, there's some like things that like if you kind of connect the dots, you're like, oh, maybe that makes sense. Maybe that's where they're from. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, it's such a like just a sort of bewildering out of nowhere kind of situation. Like now we're like originally we're just afraid of Reina, and then Mion's kind of in on it too, and now there's just fucking guys coming out of nowhere trying to get this dude.
Yeah, and that's really because now it's like you're in an uncomfortable position because there's like these girls that you don't know if you can trust them or not. They seem really untrustworthy, but nobody believes you. That's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And now you have like powerful dudes coming after you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like just physically stronger than you people.
Yeah.
And so it's like you have zero power.
Totally. Yeah.
So scary.
Yeah. It does a really good job of like taking the power away from Keiichi. Like, you know, despite the fact that he knows some shit's going on, he's got the bat with him and stuff, like he can't protect himself. It's just impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And his parents leave at the worst fucking time too.
No. Yeah. His parents are like, hey, we're going to Tokyo. You'll be fine, right?
Yeah. We're already there, actually. Dogs are like going fucking ballistic out there. I don't know what's going on. Oh my God.
I don't think it's getting picked up, but like,
I've never heard like,
whoa, that was wild.
I've never heard those dogs get like that. I've heard them bark before, but not like that.
Yeah.
That sounded like trying to kill somebody bark.
Yeah. There were a couple of people who I think just moved in over there and they've got a new dog. So maybe the dynamic.
Those different new neighbors now?
Well, because there's a bunch of people that live in that house.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I think some new people moved in, so maybe the dog dynamic is different.
Maybe
they got like a big golden retriever.
Oh.
I was gonna say golden receiver, but that's like the second or third Air Bud movie.
Oh, it is. Yeah. That's clever. It's good. Like that.
That movie's fucking wild. The dog plays football and he gets tackled. And like
by people?
By like there's a person who tackles him and everybody's worried about the dog. Like, oh my God, is he gonna be okay? What did you think was gonna happen?
He's gotta do it. Like,
yeah. He's going after, like, you have to tackle people in football. That means if you're gonna let the dog play, you have to tackle the dog.
You have to tackle the dog. You could just choose a path of nonviolence.
That is the opposite of what football is.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Just radical pacifism as NFL.
Maybe you just have a dialogue. Maybe you could just debate the dog.
Yeah. How about the winner of the Super Bowl be decided in the marketplace of ideas?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, we tackle each other with our brains.
Ooh, yeah. I like that. I'm trying to think of anything more. Oh, we're leaving out a huge thing about that first arc.
Oh, quite so.
Yeah. First episode, they find who they refer to as Kenta-kun.
Kenta-kun, yeah.
Kenta-kun. You want to tell everybody who Kenta-kun is?
It's Colonel Sanders.
It's Colonel Sanders
from Kenta Fried Chicken. Yeah,
dude. The entire arc, anytime something was happening, I was like, "This is cool." When are they gonna go get? So they find like it's like a statue that you'd have in front of like a restaurant.
Yeah, and it's in a dump, like a landfill.
Yeah, and it's Colonel Sanders, and he's like trapped under some stuff. Mm-hmm. And the girl is like, I really want to get this Kenta-kun. Like, I really want to get this guy.
I would want to.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah. And the entire episode, or the entire arc, all 4 episodes, I'm like, when the fuck are they gonna go get like Colonel Sanders?
And then they never do.
They never do.
The Colonel's the real victim of the first arc, I think.
Yeah.
It's just left.
Like, I think I said the dumbest thing while we were watching. I'm like, is Kenta-kun being trapped under the junk like how the main character is trapped in this weird psychological nightmare?
I mean, like, on its face, like, it makes some sense. Like, you can't get him out. Even though he knows he's in there. Well, Kenta-kun doesn't know because he's a statue, but Keiichi knows.
But nobody's helping him.
Yeah.
You know?
They both
people
start
know.
with a K sound.
Yeah. There's something there.
They're quite alike, the two of them.
Yeah. From KCF.
That's right.
That's what the sign said.
Yeah.
I cared so much about them getting that. And he never comes up after the first episode.
I think they mention him because I think in the second episode he goes and meets with Reina, and what's it? Oh yeah, he says like, oh yeah, I think we need like some sort of like axe or hatchet type of thing to get this out of here. And then like she's like, oh, I'll be right back. And then he turns around and she's like standing behind him with like it doesn't really look like any sort of axe or anything I've ever seen. It looks kind of like Renji's sword from Bleach, but
it's like a big ass cleaver.
Yeah,
and not even like a good cleaver. It's like a horror movie cleaver because like the edge of it has like a spike that comes off.
Yeah,
which would be terrible if you were trying to like cut something.
Looks like it's made for killing people.
It is absolutely made for killing people. Yeah, that is a weapon.
Yeah.
I don't know. So first arc, I loved it.
Yeah,
like
that was fantastic.
Like, if I guess just not to get to the review portion, but the way I feel about the show in general is that I'm not as crazy about the cutesy parts of it. Like when I'm watching those, I kind of tune out a little bit.
Okay,
but it pays off.
Yeah,
you know, like the fucking scary parts more than make up for any part where I'm like, oh, this is a little dull for me. You know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see, like, I really want to, I keep kind of waffling as to like which format I'm going to continue with. Like, am I going to continue with the VN or am I going to watch the anime or going to like blah, 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 like, or the fucking several renditions of the anime that there are. But yeah, I am one way or another. I'm very keen on finishing this whole story because it is super interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, it's super compelling.
Yeah,
like at least these first. So let's talk about the second arc.
Oh, right.
The first arc's super good. The second arc, which I guess we only watched. If it's 4 episodes, also, then we only watched half of it.
Yeah, we watched 6 episodes, so we watched 2 episodes of it.
So we mostly watched the cute parts, but it starts to set up what the horror element is, which is that they've walked into a place they shouldn't have been, and now fucking Ghost Sama is gonna fucking come for them.
Old Tomitake once again dies touching the forbidden artery.
Touching the forbidden artery.
He touches the no vein, and now he's not around anymore. But the Onikakushi curse or whatever basically says that like one person dies, one person disappears. In this situation, 4 people entered that shrine. 2 people have died, which means that 2 more people should be disappearing. And Keiichi and Mion's twin sister Shion were the other 2 in the shrine. So it goes that they are probably going to end up getting vanished.
Yeah, and that's kind of the interesting. So that's the big thing with this arc is that Mion, the green hair girl, has like a nearly the one with the gun, has a nearly identical twin named Shion
without a gun.
That was the main way I told the like they had different hair and different clothes, but like the gun was what I used.
Yeah, the way they talk is a bit different too. But usually the gun is the good indicator.
Yeah, good indicator. Yeah, I really expected it to be like you don't know. I thought the arc was going to be you don't know if they're the same person or different people, because the first episode really kind of is like maybe Mion is lying.
Yeah.
But then eventually you see them in the same place. So that dispels that.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly.
It kind of plays it like that too for a minute.
Yeah.
Cause she's like, oh, I'm not Mion. I'm her twin sister Shion. And I just know you because she talks about you a bunch. And like, it seems like it's playing that up to be like, oh no, of course they're the same person.
Yeah.
And when ostensibly Shion brings Keiichi lunch at one point, and then when he says, hey, I brought you back the bento box, the lunch was super good, thanks. Like Shion goes like, she reacts as though she didn't know that happened. She's like, I didn't. Oh, sure. Yeah, no problem. And like, so it's kind of implied that Mion was impersonating Shion and brought Keiichi lunch. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense because they're already friends. But yeah. And it seems like maybe there's some sort of love triangle sort of situation going on. But potential spoilers. I don't think it's going to end very well.
Yeah. Well, so I guess I'm really torn on this. The start of the arc shows a graphic murder involving the characters.
Yeah, Rika, I think, gets stabbed by ostensibly Mion, but they can dress like each other. So,
yeah. So there's a little bit of mystery, and I like the second one more. The first one shows protagonist killing 2 of the other characters, and I felt like I was very curious how we were going to get to that point. So I thought that was super interesting. But it did kind of like flavor things in a way that I would have. I at least for that first arc, I wish I hadn't seen that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like it's not terrible. I would like it to be more shocking.
Yeah.
I like shock stuff.
That makes sense. I think like for one thing they wanted to let people know like what they were getting into, like, and because the VN opens with that too. Like the VN starts with not as descript obviously because there's no like animations, but like it does start with like something or someone is being hit with a club or a bat, and like there's kind of like very kind of nondescript monologue stuff going on. So like, following the pace of the VN, and then also like letting people know like this is not just going to be a cute little slice of life thing. There's going to be some violence,
Yeah. And I think that it's a good idea to set immediately like, hey, this is going to be a horror thing.
Yeah.
Because I think it does kind of help paint all the cute stuff in a certain light.
Yeah.
Which I think works for it. I just wish it was less clear exactly what was happening.
That's fair.
The second one, though, I mean, it could be there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
So it's not super obvious in what's happening. So that'll be really interesting.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I might, when the arcs seem to end, I might just like start another, like when a new arc I think is going to start, I might just like skip ahead like 40 seconds.
Oh yeah, just skip that trailer or that sneak peek altogether.
Yeah. If they're going to keep doing it, I think so.
That makes sense.
But that's me. I don't think it's like a deal breaker.
I suspect that future arcs are going to kind of start trying to separate your expectations of what's going to happen. Like I
would like that.
I think it's entirely possible that like because when we see Keiichi, I don't think we actually see who he's hitting with the bat at the very beginning.
I think you do because I knew it was those two.
Okay, all right. So
or either I guessed super well or
but you knew it was Reina and Mion. So like in that situation, like you would kind of guess that Keiichi was the aggressor, that he's going to go crazy, and then that's clearly not the case. Like I'm wondering if they're going to go even further in like building you up to expect one thing and then they go in another direction, and like how well they can like keep you guessing and keep you guessing wrong, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't know. It's been one of those things. Like I feel like I've been fucking up for a long time by not being more familiar with Higurashi. Continue to feel that way. And Umineko. there's a whole nother series by the same people that I need to read.
Is it also horror?
Yeah, but it's like a period. I think it's like a Victorian type of thing. It's called Umineko when they cry, which is seagulls when the seagulls cry.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, seagull Umineko literally means like ocean cat.
Yeah, I was like, I expected there to be a cat in that translation.
Yeah, no, it means means seagull. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. The more you know.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I can dig it. So second arc, I'm trying to think of anything else. I love the setup of they've final destination to themselves.
Yeah.
And now you don't really know what's going to happen. And then I also, maybe I take it back, at least for this part, about the little teaser thing. They show the little purple hair girl with a knife, right? And
Rika has the knife? I thought it was Mion that had the knife.
No, it was a little purple hair girl.
Shit.
I'm pretty sure.
Maybe.
Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I remember. And there's a whole thing about like when main character goes into the shrine that he shouldn't go into, he's supposed to be cheering on his friend, little purple hair girl, but he doesn't, and then he lies about it.
Yeah.
And that's something I really like in this show, is how the lies trip him up super quickly.
Yeah.
Like he is not a good liar.
Not really.
He's good at like telling a lie, zero follow-up. And it puts him in really precarious situations really quickly. And I love that. I love it.
Yeah. And like people always know exactly what he's getting up to as well.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, he can't hide shit.
Yeah. He's the and I mean it turns out like or at least it's strongly suggested like in episode 5 or 6, Keiichi runs afoul of some hooligans, some Yankees, the biker gang, and they're trying to pick a fight with him, and Shion comes out to like yell at them essentially like, hey, get out of here, and they're like, what the hell are you gonna do? We're gonna mess this kid up. And then like they turn around and like everyone on that block is surrounding them all of a sudden, like they are ready to fucking take these dudes out.
Yeah.
And they get spooked and they take off, but it's like, again, the people of Hinamizawa are very close knit, but like these people are acting like one united front kind of thing, to the point where like the whole town could be in on the cult. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's gonna kind of come up more and more.
Yeah,
because at first I was like, does Shion have like mind control powers? Like, what is going on here?
Yeah,
but I think it is more a like, a cult kind of mob mentality kind of thing.
Yeah. There's one plot detail I think that kind of lends itself to that, but like I have an incomplete knowledge of like the second arc, so like I'm not gonna, and it's not mentioned in these episodes, so I'm not gonna spoil anything. But yeah, there's something else that makes me think like maybe that's like kind of a red herring.
Interesting.
But I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I'm super curious about where all of that is going, especially with like the I cannot get out of my head the spooky shadow organization that shows up at the end.
Oh yeah.
Of the first arc. It's like
fucking painters or whatever.
Yeah, it makes me so uncomfortable. It's such a weird thing.
Spooky.
It's very spooky.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Well, I think that covers most of my thoughts. I'm gonna look at my notes here real quick.
We covered Kenta-kun. I got to say all those confusing names. People die.
Yeah.
Oishi's car has air conditioning. Yeah, I think that about covers it.
Yeah, that's all this stuff. Yeah, Kenta-kun's the big one for me.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, they never get Kenta-kun out of the junkyard.
Kenta-kun never survives.
I mean, that's the real tragedy.
Yeah.
The real horror there.
He just keeps living that week over and over again.
Just in that junkyard. Yeah. Well, let's get to the review part then.
Yeah.
Let's we got our rating system here. Keep watching. and total garbage.
I have resolved to keep watching this show. Like I really, really, really want to finish it in like, I want to get to a point where like I've seen just about all the important Higurashi related stuff. Like I really like the style that it's got going on.
Yeah, I really, and like I said earlier, I really like the anthology type thing that this has going for it, where it's like, even if I don't like let's say I watched 4 episodes and I was like, oh, that mystery kind of sucked or whatever. It resets and you go on to a new spooky thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if you don't like this one arc, like you might like the next one better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but so far, I mean, I've liked what I've seen. I'm with you. I'm in the keep watching for this one.
Yeah. And if you or you, dear listener, would like to give the visual novel a shot, actually, the first chapter, like the first arc that we just watched, is free on Steam.
Really? It's free?
You just download it. The rest of the chapters are like $5 a pop or something like that. Okay. But yeah, that first one's free. There's also, I have a couple of mods on it to like, to have the soundtrack, and I think the CGs, like the when an important plot detail happens, they'll show like a more detailed like photo of it rather than just the character portraits standing next to each other. I have those included from the PSP version, I think. Which I think enhances the experience a little bit.
They're like a little bit cleaner, or
it's like, because most of like what a visual novel is, it's like text box, and then these character portraits are just standing next to each other, and maybe like one will have like an angry face or one will be a happy face or whatever, but they don't really interact with each other or anything. Like in this, like say the part where Keiichi tries to slam the door on Rika, like it'll show actually an image of like a more detailed drawing of like Keiichi slamming that door or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Oh
yeah, because that was a whole fucking crazy scene in the anime.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, and I think it actually kind of adds to the experience to me to go from like these weird fucking puppet things to like a much more like detailed high fidelity photo, like drawing of these characters and stuff like that. Like that back and forth is really fun to me.
That's cool.
But
yeah, I'm definitely tempted. Like, I think I want to watch the anime as like my way, especially since I've already seen the first arc or whatever. Right, and it sounds like it's fairly long, but I am tempted.
The visual novel, there's a lot going on in the visual novel that you don't get out of the anime, but like it's a time commitment. So
yeah. I don't know. There is something I do like like I've like Doki Doki, and I've played like some other weird visual novels in the past, and I like how into the world you can kind of get in that thing. Doki Doki really kind of got to me in a certain, I mean, like it did with a lot of people. So that that's why I'm like, I'm very tempted. Like, I already know the first thing, but it seems scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to keep watching the anime itself, especially like we're recording this in like mid-October for Halloween. And it's like, I got plenty of time in the right season to watch this.
That's true.
So
that's true. This would be a good thing to watch through. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, hell yeah. Nice. It's nice that we've got like a positive feeling about a horror thing. I was kind of like, when we started it, I was like, this really feels like it's going to be the hard and it really grew on me.
Yeah. Yeah. I've liked Higurashi for a while now. I continue to like Higurashi. It's really good. I do need to get around to Umineko. That sounds really cool. Yeah. Get there eventually.
Yeah. Well, and that and that makes 2 years in a row that we've done good on Halloween spooky stuff, because I think we watched
Paranoia Agent.
And that was another great one.
That was a really good one.
And in terms of ranking, I would say they're both better than the Junji Ito collection.
Yeah. Absolutely. I would rather, if there is a gulf between the quality of Junji Ito collection and this, for sure.
Such a we're sitting right next to my Junji Ito collection of manga.
Quite so. He's got Frankenstein. Oh, that is actually a Junji Ito Frankenstein. I didn't know he did Frankenstein.
He did. It's really good. It's the only way I've ever experienced Frankenstein.
Oh, I read the Wishbone version.
Oh,
as a young guy. Big on the Wishbone versions of classic literature.
I mean, that seems like the easiest way to get through shit like Grapes of Wrath and all that.
Yeah, I did actually. I think it was Of Mice and Men. There was a Wishbone version of that.
God, yes.
Yeah, I read like Of Mice and Men and like The Red Badge of Courage and Huckleberry Finn and like a bunch of like classic literature.
What?
But okay, these were the Wishbone published versions. They were not versions featuring a Jack Russell Terrier as the main character. They did have the cover did show that. And that is what I thought I was signing up for initially. But the actual text of the story just tells the story, more or less as it was intended. There are, however, certain Wishbone specials where they do change the narrative so that the main character is a Jack Russell Terrier, but that is not all of the Wishbone books. There was like Beowulf. They changed it to like be a wolf. And in that one, he is just a dog.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I feel like more stories should be told with dog protagonists.
I think so. Yeah.
I would love to see any of the anime that we've watched just have a dog.
Yeah.
I would love to see just people trying to survive the depression. Is Grapes of Wrath the only classic literature I can name, apparently?
There's other John Steinbeck books.
In 1984, the main guy, Winston, is a dog. He never says it, but he is a dog. It's Wishbone.
I knew a dog named Winston. He was a basset hound, though.
Wishton.
Yeah.
There we go. We combined Winston and Wishbone.
For those for those
what am I doing?
Who might be a teensy bit younger or just weren't watching a lot of TV in the late 90s, Wishbone was a show where they would reenact classic literature, but the main character was a dog named Wishbone. He was just a cute little dog who really loved stories, and he would picture himself like he was the protagonist, and so you'd see like, yeah, Huckleberry Finn or whatever, but Tom Sawyer is a dog or whatever, stuff like that.
I don't remember it at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I watched a fuck ton of Wishbone as a kid.
Dude, I every time you say Wishbone, and I know it's incorrect, but every time you say Wishbone, I think of Lamb Chop.
That is very different.
I
did watch some Lamb Chop as a kid.
I know I'm incorrect, but every time I just think of that little lamb puppet.
Lamb Chop and Timmy the Tooth were my shit as like a...
Fuck is Timmy the Tooth?
It is it's like Lamb Chop. It's like a puppet show.
Okay, yeah, I could have figured it out, right?
But it was about a tooth, and his name was Timmy. And his best friend was a toothbrush, and they would get up to hijinks and adventures.
Keep your dental propaganda away from my children.
And that's the thing is I don't remember there being a whole lot about like actually like make sure to brush your teeth, kids. Like it wasn't just a show to convince people to do that.
Huh.
That was just sort of a byproduct of it by virtue of it being about a tooth.
Okay. Interesting.
Granted, these are memories of like from when I was like 4. So I mean, maybe I'm a little off.
Like 100 years ago at this point.
Exactly. Yeah. Might as well be. On that topic, I've been revisiting Superbook recently. I tagged you in a tweet about this. This is what I was talking about at Peter's party, where it was the Bible anime. Yeah. I found it. There's a fucking Superbook reboot that is going on right now.
So this is like the Bible anime?
This is the Bible anime. Superbook is an 80s anime animated by Tatsunoko Productions. And it is about this kid named Chris and his best friend Joy. And
hi, I'm Chris T.
He's Chris T. Anity. His name's Chris. I just now made that connection. Actually, I did not. I watched this when I was like super fucking young. Like it's one of my first memories. But this kid named Chris lives in a house down the street and around the corner. His dad's a scientist. His best friend's name is Joy. She lives like across the street or something like that. He has a dog named Ruffles and a robot named Gizmo. Originally referred to as Gizmo the Crusading Robot. It has a big cross on its like a Crusader cross on its chest. The 80s were a different time.
My Roomba is Christian.
Yeah, it had like one of those big wind-up keys in its back. Oh, anyway, excellent. Wouldn't you know it, Ruffles the little dog. She just up and doggone goes into a time portal and ends up in Bible times. And Chris and Gizmo and Joy have to go after the dog. And every time like the dog goes running through a Bible story and the kids have to go follow it, and they kind of just like Kingdom Hearts style like tell the Bible story, but like Chris and Joy and Gizmo are like also just around for it. So like, you know, they meet this shepherd named David, and they're like, "What are you doing, David?" And he's like, "Well, I gotta fight this big old giant named Goliath tomorrow, and I don't know how I'm gonna win, but I'm gonna trust in the Lord." And like, you know, it's just that story.
So when you were going through it, did you replace Donald or Goofy with David? I'm making Kingdom Hearts.
That's a good
right.
Yeah? I think I would have to replace Goofy with
David. Yeah. They probably fill a similar role.
I think so. Actually, I don't know. Goofy ends up being more of a defensive kind of thing. I don't think David could use cure though, and that's really important.
Oh, that's a big one. Yeah.
If it's critical mode, I'm probably going to have to replace Goofy. Normal or proud mode, probably Donald. Depends. Because get one shot. Like Goliath's gonna one shot you on critical mode, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That guy seemed real strong.
Yeah. That wasn't me failing to understand what you were saying. I just started thinking about it really realistically for some reason.
You gave me a quizzical look, and I should have known that you were processing.
I know, I got stuck. I was like, fuck, which one do I replace?
You're not prepared for the bit. You're prepared for a legitimate answer to my question.
Yeah, exactly. I think if I remember correctly, in Kingdom Hearts 3, they do away with that. That you just get a third or a fourth party member.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the way it should be.
It should be like that. Yeah. 100%. But the thing is, they don't just tell the PG Bible stories. Like, yeah, you've got David Goliath, you got Jonah and the whale, you got, Moses, et cetera, et cetera. But like Job is one of the stories.
Because you posted a clip or something from the Job one? That was from
Job, yeah.
Yeah.
He's and the part where he's covered in sores, his children have all been murdered by ravagers. His flocks are destroyed. His house is burned down, and the winds are howling, and he's begging God to put him out of his misery. And I'm like, this is for little kids. I was watching this when I was learning to read.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I did not understand the story of the prodigal son.
Oh yeah.
And now that I'm older, I get it. I understand where it's coming from. It's about forgiveness. It's about, it's about forgiveness. And I always just think I'm gonna understand what the fuck Job is about at some point. I still don't get why it's so hard. Why God was fuck this guy in particular.
Well, because Green Satan was told God
yeah,
I bet he won't. I bet he won't still love you if you kill his kids.
Yeah, I bet.
But what if you gave him a bunch of sores as well and also burned his house down?
Yeah, I cannot really come around on that story. Yeah. It's so fucked up.
Yeah. They also do the story of Lot, which is where they have to flee Sodom and Gomorrah, and then his wife turns around and she turns into a pillar of salt.
Right.
They do Samson.
What an idiot.
Yeah. Women, am I right? Just turning into pillars of salt, right and left. They do Samson, of course. They do David and Bathsheba. You know that story?
No.
So same David as David and Goliath, ends up becoming the king.
Right.
At one point. Have you seen VeggieTales, King George and the Rubber Ducky?
Not recently.
You are fucking up, Stu.
Listen. I've probably seen it. I just don't remember.
That's fair. Yeah. I thought you were an anime expert, Stu. You haven't seen it.
You can't even name every episode. You're not even going to be able to guess the VeggieTales OP, dude.
So if you like to talk to tomatoes, but all right, Bakari's Bible Corner here. David and Bathsheba is the story of David and Goliath. David, he has grown up. He's the king now. He sees out his window or whatever, a beautiful young woman named Bathsheba, and turns out she's married. And David's like, that ain't gonna stop me. And so what he does is he sends her husband off to the front lines of the battle, of the war that's going on. Dude hella dies, and then David takes Bathsheba for himself, and then feels bad about it. He's like, oh man, I so got your husband killed. That sucks, man.
That
but
really,
you're really I'm just real horned up for this Bathsheba lady. And then he prays to God for forgiveness about it. And God's like, hey, that sucked, but it's all good, dude. Hey, tell you what, your line is always going to be king. And then, David has Solomon, and that's cool. Solomon's a good king. Everything's fine, even though that dude's hella dead.
Yeah. Old Testament is I feel that's such a wild one to try to make an anime for kids for.
And they did it.
Yeah. And I think we talked about it on the podcast. It's such a weird idea of making Samson into a story for kids.
That was a weird one. That one stuck with me.
Yeah, because it's so violent.
Yeah.
Old Testament's real violent, but it's usually God's yeah, and then I just blew up all these dudes.
Yeah.
Samson's I'm gonna go and kill 1,000 dudes with my bare hands.
With a
donkey's
jaw. That's what it is. Yeah.
Which I guess that's stronger than a hand.
I suppose so.
At that point though, you're just a dude ripping people apart. You're going full just fucking superhero, Superman when he goes off to the dark side. Whatever,
yeah, Injustice or whatever.
Yeah, just ripping dudes in half.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it was the donkey's jaw.
That's the Bible, baby.
That's the Bible.
And that's Superbook. You can watch that. There's a bunch of episodes on YouTube. I've been watching them. They're not good, but you can watch them. Doesn't hold up as well as I thought it did.
It is wild that we have the Bible anime. I'm like thinking, but we don't have the Thanksgiving anime yet, right? Because that's like
it is not.
We've joked about it in the past.
It is not Japanese animated. However, my parents actually we did so. I've mentioned it on the podcast before. I was raised for several years as a Mormon, and my mom, who was the one who got into the whole Mormon thing,
main Mormon,
the main Mormon. My dad was the sub Mormon, but they don't listen to this podcast. It's fine. But they would go to my mom would go to the Deseret bookstore, which is like the Mormon store, and they had a bunch of these VHS like animated mini series things, animated by the same studio Nest that did the Swan Princess trilogy. Same people, yeah. And they did a bunch of them. They did like Thomas Edison, Ben Franklin, and one of them was William Bradford, who is like the Thanksgiving man. Him and Captain Miles Standish and Goodman Carver and stuff. They were like the people who met with the Samoset and
started the whole Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the one Thanksgiving that was supposedly a good time for both parties.
Yeah,
in theory.
Yeah, where they decided not to kill each other.
Yeah, exactly. And they were like, and they all got along, and we learned to plant corn, and everything was great. The end. And
yeah, because that was definitely the lesson that Americans took from relations with Native Americans.
Yeah. So there were a few things missing from that story. I found out later in life. But yeah, so like we would actually watch that every Thanksgiving. So I've seen the Thanksgiving anime many times.
Okay. Well, maybe we can finally get our shit in gear this year and do a Thanksgiving special.
Yeah.
Battle School Dropouts, and we can watch that one. Because I get it. Japan isn't America.
Oh, what?
So they're not going to do a Thanksgiving.
I'm not living in. I'm not a Japanese person.
No. Yeah, we got to follow Tim's whole path. And
fuck.
Move you.
He's going to like school and stuff. He's like getting educated, and I'm not doing that.
Yeah, fuck that.
31 years old. I'm
School's for nerds.
I ain't gonna learn shit.
At the end of every episode, we just dunk on Tim.
He's like one of the only people who listens to this podcast regularly. Like, fuck Tim, dude.
Yeah, this guy, man. No, we love you, Tim.
Yeah,
we're mostly jealous.
Much love.
Well, shit. Let's do these plugs here.
Yeah.
I'll plug Battle School Dropouts here. You can subscribe to our YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on Podbean. So however you want to find us, you could do it as long as it's not iTunes.
Yeah.
You can totally find us anywhere
else.
And we're gonna start trying to do more like video content and stuff.
Yeah.
So we got a video. It'll either be out by the time this comes out, or it'll be out soon, where we're gonna try to see who can guess anime OPs.
Yeah,
faster.
That's an idea that we came up all on our own.
Yeah. I saw that ProZD did it, and he definitely stole it from us off, in terms of he did it first and
like a year ago or something.
Shit. That bastard.
So he's never gonna watch this, but please don't like take too much offense to us bald facedly just ripping off your idea. Sungwon Cho. I like your work.
Yeah, he's great.
He's in the King of Kings anime. He's in the dub.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I can't remember who he is in it, but he is in it. I think he's Kage. Maybe I'm wrong.
He made those videos look really fun. We're just gonna do it.
Yeah,
I want to have fun too.
Yeah, it sounds like, and I'm gonna win this. I'm gonna win it so easily.
Yeah,
this is gonna age really well.
This is gonna age super well.
Yeah.
Listening to this and then watching that video, it's just all gonna come together.
That's right.
What about you? How can people track you down, or what are you working on?
So King George and the Rubber Ducky basically retells the story of David and Bathsheba, but King Larry is he spies a rubber ducky that Junior the asparagus owns, and he really wants it, so he sends Junior to the front lines of the pie fight that's going on,
and he dies violently.
And Junior gets pied. I mean, he's alive, but he's all pied up. He's all pied up, and so Larry takes his rubber ducky for himself, but then he feels bad about taking the rubber ducky. But like Junior's still alive, so it doesn't really track. You can find me soundcloud.com/octomammoth or twitter.com/8mammoth. I haven't updated my SoundCloud in like a year. Maybe just go to my Twitter instead. I don't know why I keep saying it first, but go to my Twitter /8mammoth.
Yeah.
I tweet sometimes.
We got to get your VeggieTales lore podcast going. The lore video series.
I hate to break it to you. This is now my VeggieTales lore podcast.
Oh, shit. I thought Sonic was rough.
I've only just begun.
This isn't even my final form.
Exactly. Just wait till the Silly Songs with Larry segments. That's going to be a good one. Yeah.
It's going to be our new intermission.
Going to be ranking. That the next anniversary episode is ranking all the Silly Songs with Larry. Spoiler alert, Cheeseburger gets number one.
No, it's still X-Arm.
It's still X-Arm. I will put my life on the line to make sure X-Arm does not get more than halfway up that ladder.
Of that Silly Song with Larry ladder?
The Silly Songs with Larry, yeah. It's going right behind Everybody Has a Water Buffalo.
Incredible. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Well, good up, man.
Yeah, good job. And remember, God made you special, and he loves you very much. That's the VeggieTales sign out.
Oh, and also don't get killed by anime girls.
Don't get killed by anime girls.
Yeah.
Have we talked about how the VeggieTales can't pray?
Because they don't have hands?
Because they don't have souls. They're not humans. They're vegetables. This is a director's note. They do not pray unless they are portraying characters from the Bible. Junior the asparagus cannot pray, but Junior playing David in David and Goliath can pray. Because they don't have souls.
So, like...
That's why Bob says God made you special, and he loves you very much. But the VeggieTales will not go to heaven.
Well, yeah. Well, you got to remember, God didn't invent tomatoes. That's all mankind there. God did humans, and then we did the rest.
Is that true? Did we
no,
make...
we didn't.
Okay. I was like, are tomatoes man?
I mean, unless you count like Monsanto, like patenting, like genetics.
I'm sure, like as they exist now, but like in the same way, like banana seeds used to be a lot bigger, but like tomatoes exist. Okay.
I heard to keep this podcast going longer. I heard one of the things that really kind of like tore VeggieTales apart was that you had. Everybody who was working there was pretty much Christian.
Yeah.
But some people felt like they were more Christian or more correct than others. And it basically you couldn't get through a day without people getting into like religious arguments.
The snake swallows its tail once again.
Yeah. But like you're making the Christian vegetable show. Like calm down.
I can't remember his name. The creator of the VeggieTales show, like last week was like in, or maybe a week before was like got in this big like argument on Twitter with some people about abortion and trans rights and stuff like that. Dude's politics ain't bad, actually.
What?
Yeah.
I heard he was one of the less hardcore people working for VeggieTales.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
At some point, somebody said like, "Oh, well, when did the creator of VeggieTales get all woke, dude? What are Bob and Larry going to come out as fruits next or something?" And he said, like, botanically speaking, cucumbers and tomatoes are both fruits, actually. So sorry to break that to you. Like just had that locked and loaded. Dude. Like he's been sitting on that for years.
He's like, fucking finally, yes. He like pulls it out of the draft.
He was born for that moment. Yeah.
Fuck. I mean, fuck yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I guess. Yeah.
Like I'm sure if I learn like another thing about him, it won't be nearly as like I'm sure like his opinions on abortions and trans rights are bad, are just fine, but like also he thinks that like the Asians cause hurricanes or something. Like it's just.
Yeah, well, Bakri, never meet your heroes.
Yeah, exactly. And that is my hero. Right? Yeah. The creator of VeggieTales. God rest his soul.
It's the closest thing you'll get to Bob. So.
Yeah. That is the closest, yeah. Right, we were ending this podcast.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, shit.
All right. Good up. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Oh, good up.
That was good.
I know that it's here, I can sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I'm gonna hold my head, cause I have no fear. This probably seems crazy, a graveyard theory. I ghosts try to approach me and got leery. Asked him a question and he vanished in a second. I'm walking through valleys, crying pumpkin in the alley. Didn't seem happy, but they sure tried to get me. Had a back of rock with a fist metal cracker. I'm hearing someone saying you a chicken, don't be scared. It had to be the wind, cause nobody wasn't there. I searched as I climbed up the wall. And then I started to fly, I went in deep. Let it get to me, I'm just gonna creep. Down Pumpkin Hill, I got to find my lost piece. I know that it's here, I sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see